On today's show, what are three things the LA Clippers need next season to win a championship that they didn't have this season? What are we learning from these playoffs that show us, the Clippers need more of that to compete with these guys? Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Cancun Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA, and just finished my 19th season as a Clipper fan. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, where I am talking about every single playoff game. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, where I want you to let me know which one of these three things do you think is the most important, and maybe what would you like to see to get us closer to achieving these goals. And I'm using three categories: something involving the team, roster construction, then a luck thing, and then a strategic thing. So before we get started and talking about the three things that the Clippers need, and that three things we are learning from the NBA playoffs that is showing us, this is what the Clippers need next season to take that step up to actually competing for a championship. But before we do that, this episode is brought to you by this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to place a bet on anything, and it's just about some of the best time in the year to bet. You've got the Champions League final coming up in soccer. You've got NBA playoffs. You've got NHL playoffs. You've got MLB. A lot of good things to bet on. So let's talk about the first and most obvious thing that the Clippers need to do with this roster to compete with the rest of the field and the top teams. And that is to get younger and more athletic. It was very obvious, just by looking at the average age of the Clippers. We were one of the oldest teams in the league. I forget if we were the oldest or not. I don't think we were the oldest, but we were up there. Kawhi Leonard is our best player. He is age 32. Paul George is age 33. James Harden, 34. Russell Westbrook, 35. So it's funny how that works. But every single one of your 4 or 5 best players, in Russell Westbrook's case, the way the season ended, you can argue Norman Powell and Ivica Zubac were better, but those are like the 4 faces of the team, and they're all over 30. And if you look at the Denver Nuggets, that's not the case with them. You look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, that's not the case with them. You look at the Oklahoma City Thunder, that's not the case with them. And you look at the Dallas Mavericks, that's not the case with them. The Golden State Warriors are out. The Phoenix Suns are out. The Lakers are out. The Clippers are out. Out with the old, in with the new. It's kind of a turning of the leaf, a changing of the guard that's happening in front of our eyes. And I personally think that all these franchises, the Warriors, the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Suns, they want to salvage what they can out of these superstars, future Hall of Fame guys, when I really don't know if these guys can carry that burden to what those teams want to go all the way and win the championship. I think people are just seeing that, they can still be great. They can lead us to maybe first round, second round. But I think those franchises are kind of losing sight about how hard it is to win a championship. But that being said, giving up stars isn't always the best thing financially. And at the end of the day, the NBA is a business. So giving up guys like KD, like LeBron or Kawhi, or these guys to rebuild or start from scratch, it's not always the best business model. So the one thing we know as far as the Clippers is we were too old and slow after the addition of James Harden. Even though we got rid of 3 guys that were over 30 in Nico, Rocco, and Senior, we also got rid of KJ Martin, who we brought in specifically to make us younger and more athletic. So when we lost him and then put Westbrook on the bench and took Bones out of the rotation, it made us more of a Harden-centric team. And we knew that James Harden would slow us down, make our half-court offense more efficient, make our offense more explosive in general, but slow down the pace. And that's exactly what happened. And, when we were whooping teams left and right because Kawhi Leonard was in form and James Harden was playing great basketball and PG was on a heater and Zubac and James Harden's chemistry was increasing by the week, we were killing teams. And it didn't really matter that we were not athletic enough or slower and whatnot, more of a half-court team, because we were playing solid defense and our offense was just lights out. But you could see that against a lot of the better teams, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Nuggets even, we lacked that big forward. It was just a lot on Kawhi Leonard, whether it be low man help or, the only other guy that can be physical around the basket besides Zubats and maybe Daniel Tice. We lacked a big forward, and we also lacked a great point of attack guy. And a lot of these point of attack guys that you see, the best point of attack guys on these teams like Lou Dort or Herb Jones or Derek Jones or Aaron Gordon, KCP. These guys are very good athletes, whether they're rangy wings or they're quicker guards with good lateral quickness. The Clippers, the best that we have was Terrence Mann. And Terrence Mann is he and Russell Westbrook are like our best athletes. And that's not going to cut it to win a championship. You look at these teams like Minnesota, look at the athleticism and size that they have that they're throwing around there. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Naz Reid, Anthony Edwards. I mean, even Cat and Gobert, 2 7-footers. Naz Reid, a 6'11" guy with mobility. The Clippers don't have any of this. Tyson Plumlee. I know this sounds weird, but all we have are white centers. I mean, I don't know if that's a great thing in any era. And then Kawhi and Paul George and James Harden and Russell Westbrook, they're all guys that were athletic at one point. I mean, Russell Westbrook still is. And they're all still athletic, but just they're on the decline in that sense. Father Time is undefeated, and they've been through their fair share of major injuries. So the Clippers absolutely need to get younger. The obvious spots they would need to, hopefully fix is to get one guy that could guard at the point of attack, 3 and D. Those guys don't grow on trees. Because I love Terrence Mann, but I don't think he can be the best point of attack defender on a championship team. And then clearly a big forward, preferably a guy that can slot Kawhi back down to the 3. That would be ideal. But we'll see who's out there. But that's the goal. You want to get a guy that can help Kawhi stay on the perimeter more and then be a backside rim protector for Zubats, helping out around the basket on the low block. That kind of thing, that backside rim protection is very important in today's game and in any era really, but a lot of it today's game because your bigs get forced to come out of the paint. So that's one thing the Clippers need. And you know what? You really saw that as the season went on. The Clippers' legs just kind of got worn out. We started getting run off the floor by some young teams that would push the pace when we'd start bricking and we'd just be out of the game. Our transition defense was bad. And you saw, no team just goes through a major slump like that unless there's something up. And I don't think there was, as far as I know, chemistry issues or anything like that. Health-wise, everybody was fine at the time, although Russell Westbrook did miss some games. But it just looked like we were slow and tired, and mainly James Harden just really tailed off. Kawhi Leonard kind of cooled down. Then PG had that groin injury, but he also was just going through a slump. James Harden had a little shoulder injury as well, but as long as you're on the court, I mean, it's fair game. You got to go out there and perform. And James Harden and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, mainly James Harden and Paul George, didn't really do that very well in that stretch. And Ivica Zubac was coming off an injury, so that was tough. And you look at these teams that finished high in each conference, Boston finishing number 1 in the East, and then OKC in the West. Their best players are in their mid-20s. You look at the number 2 seed in the East, New York. Jalen Brunson, 20s. You know what I'm saying? OG, Randall, these guys. I mean, in terms of Tom Thibodeau, they're the most conditioned team in the league, the New York Knicks. But if you look at the Denver Nuggets, they're in the smack dab of their prime. So, moral of the story, the Clippers need to get younger and more athletic, number 1. But coming up, going to be talking about the main ingredient that you need to win a championship. It's not rocket science, people. Going to be talking about it coming up. I got to tell you a little something about FanDuel. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel's giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Who are you betting on to come out of the West? I don't know. You should decide that. East, are you going to go with somebody besides Boston, or are you going to go with Boston, who's the easy favorite? But that's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. All right. Talking about what we've seen from the NBA playoffs that, what the Clippers lack based on what we're seeing in the playoffs. And I talked about athleticism, point of attack defense that needs to improve. How about the most obvious one? A healthy #1 option, healthy stars. I mean, we had that in the regular season, but we didn't get that in the playoffs. 68 games from Kawhi in the regular season, 74 from Paul, 72 from Harden. Then in the playoffs, we got 2 games of Kawhi Leonard's shell, and then 4 games without him. Look at the Pelicans without Zion Williamson. They got swept. Brandon Ingram was in jail with Lou Dort all over him. Could not get any separation in any way. And with Zion there, it would take some pressure off of BI. You look at the Milwaukee Bucks out in round 1. Our good old friend Pat Bev, our good old friend Glenn Rivers, out in round 1 because Giannis didn't play a game after having a historic season. Giannis did not play a game. Damian Lillard didn't even play in games 4 and 5, and they lose in 6 games. And now we have a young Indiana Pacers team that's 2 games away from a conference finals because of that. The Clippers are no different. Kawhi Leonard, for the 4th straight season not being able to finish a postseason. 2021, lost conference finals to the Suns. 2022, he didn't even play a game. 2023, plays the first 2 games against Phoenix, tears his meniscus, done for the rest. We go 0-3 the rest of the way. And, of course, this postseason, where James Harden and Paul George had a great game 4, but you just could not expect these two to replicate those kinds of performances throughout the course of a series against a good team that we're seeing is very solid and is 2 wins away from going to the conference finals. So that Dallas Mavericks team was much improved on the defensive end and overall, and we needed Kawhi Leonard to beat them. And anybody that thought we could have beaten them without Kawhi was delusional and had too much confidence in Harden and Paul George and did not see what was in front of them, that the Clippers without Kawhi, as albeit we're starting to look respectable and solid towards the end of the season, you have to understand the level that is required to win a playoff series in a very good Western Conference. I mean, playoff basketball is no joke, people. You have coaching staffs that are able to game plan you for every single game. They adjust off of every loss. You have to go to your counters, and the counters to your counters in order to get the best out of yourself to win a playoff series, especially if you are an elite option on your team. The playoffs are no joke. All your flaws get exposed as a team and as an individual. And only certain players can last that many minutes playing at that level. It's no joke. It's no joke. But then you look at also a team like the Miami Heat. They basically did the Clipper approach last season. As long as we're healthy in the playoffs, we've been there, done that. We have championship pedigree. They kind of BS the regular season, had injuries here and there, but devalued it constantly. Jimmy Butler, I remember, was resting within the first 10 games of the season, resting. And then Jimmy Butler gets injured in the play-in game, and they get knocked out in 5 to Boston and got blown out in every single loss. So, moral of the story, 4 of the 8 series were lost because the team didn't have their best player. You need your best player to succeed. And that is why I was also so anti-getting James Harden is, why are we trading to help Kawhi and Paul George when we haven't even seen how far we are from a title when they're fully healthy, because they haven't been fully healthy, and now we're giving up more assets like a 2028 first-round pick that now belongs to the 76ers. It's tough. It's tough, You need your star player. And Kawhi Leonard will be named to All-NBA in the coming weeks. And it's just going to be a very bittersweet feeling because on one hand, you are happy for a Clipper player to get an All-NBA honor, but it's like we don't even get to reap the benefits of having this unbelievable Kawhi Leonard, one of the greatest small forwards to ever play this game, that chose to come to the Clippers at the height of his powers. It's a true tragedy that can only be written by the people writing the book on the Clippers franchise legacy that is so damn unfortunate. But you know what? Win or lose, and there's a lot of losing, we ride with the boys, baby. Clip gang or don't bang, and you need healthy stars. You need more youth and athleticism. But coming up, something that you need that has been confirmed over and over as I've preached and beaten like a dead horse. Going to be talking about it coming up. I got to tell you a little something about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. And here's how it works. All you got to do is just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. So, for example, you can pick Luka Doncic for less points because, we don't like the Mavs. And then like SGA for more points, stuff like that. Or even combination of categories. Get in on the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks as you and the world's best players take the game to a new level as we get to the conference finals and the finals. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with basketball and hockey entries today on Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Prize Picks has something for every sports fan, from basketball and hockey to League of Legends and everything in between. You can pick LeBron, Caitlin Clark. WNBA season is ready to go, baby. Tipping off. Connor McDavid and Jude Bellingham all in the same entry. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. And if you want to play alongside some of Prize Picks' favorite players like Meek Mill and Sugar Sean O'Malley, you can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. Just download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Just download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right. Let's talk about the one last thing that the Clippers just keep failing to do and haven't done since 2020 and haven't reaped the benefits properly since 2015. And that is to get a top 3 seed. Let's take a look at the Eastern Conference. Let's see who's left. Oh, look, it's the #1 seed Boston Celtics playing against the #4 seed Cleveland Cavaliers. Playing against the other side of the bracket, the #2 seed New York Knicks and the #6 seed Indiana Pacers, who are very obviously not going to win the championship this year. So, it looks like the winner of the East is most likely going to be a top 3 seed. And then the West, you got the #1 seed OKC, you got the #2 seed Denver Nuggets, you got the #3 seeded Timberwolves, and then you got the #5 seeded Mavericks. Of course, it should be the Clippers because no Kawhi, but whatever. Are the Mavericks going to win the West? We'll see. Are the Mavs going to win the championship? I don't think so, but we'll see. They actually have a chance, a very small one in my opinion. I don't think, I'll say this. If PJ Washington keeps playing like this, he could be a third best player on a championship team. But I don't think they're going to win this year. I think that Dallas has a chance in the coming years, though, with Luka, of course. But look at what my point is being proven about the top 4 seed thing. And a lot of people say, as long as they get to the playoffs healthy. Well, here's the thing. A lot of times teams that are saying that because injuries have derailed the regular season record. And usually a team that's healthier and more in rhythm has an advantage, especially if you have a player that's like working their way back actively to come back from an injury. So that matters. The teams that have the least amount of injuries, the least amount of drama, least amount of ups and downs, or should I say downs mixed with the ups, those are the teams that get the top seeds. And the Clippers just look too old to get a top seed this season. I mean, you look at Minnesota, you look at the Thunder, you look at the Nuggets, they're all led by a #1 option that's under 30 years old. And their #2 options are basically all under 30. Karl-Anthony Towns. Is Karl-Anthony Towns 30 yet? Let's check. 28. 28. And he's had his fair share of injuries, but J-Dub is like younger than me. You know what I'm saying? So we need to get younger. And getting that top 3 seed is imperative. And this is what makes me a little bit nervous about next year, is that Kawhi Leonard played 68 games, Paul George 74, Harden 72. Let's say we bring all these guys back. They have to be that healthy, and then you're adding guys that makes us better because they're not going to get better. Kawhi had a great season, but I don't think he's getting any better. Paul George is not getting any better. James Harden is not getting any better. Westbrook, same thing. So these guys have peaked, right? And you need to give them some more help. I guess. That's the only way you can really help this roster. You're not getting any younger. So you get them some more help. They need to be that healthy essentially again, plus the more help in what's probably going to be an even better Western Conference with the Rockets and the Grizzlies improving and the Thunder still young, and Minnesota, these guys building off this successful postseason they've had. And then Dallas, you never know what they could be doing to improve their supporting cast. And then Denver's still going to be Denver. So, it's going to be a gauntlet. So, you got to get a top 3 seed, though. History keeps proving it, and I bet you the champion this year will be a top 3 seed again. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And, even if we had played OKC, we would have had the skin taken off us by the Mavericks. If we had played against the Suns. Look, it's very clear the Mavericks were clearly better than the Suns. Much better defensively, big forwards, a team that made a lot more sense. It was obvious. People just don't watch enough basketball. I think a lot of people just watch their team and don't want to admit how little basketball they actually watch. This is the thing about me, ladies and gentlemen. You can disagree with things I say, but a lot of you that do are extremely biased fanboys that are only watching because your favorite players on this team. What I do, though, during the playoffs is I don't miss one game. I watch, and I have the proof on my channel. I don't miss one game. I break down and watch every game thoroughly, don't miss a quarter, and talk about every playoff game. So I even though I'm a Clipper fan that hasn't seen his team even make it to the finals, I think I tend to know what wins in the NBA at the highest level because I watch it and study it thoroughly. And I can see a championship team from a mile away. And I've never felt that way with the Clippers. We did look like we had a chance during that stretch in 26-5 this season, but when that moment happens, and it probably won't be next year, I don't think, because I think this team's too old. But, hey, man, hopefully I'm the host of Locked On Clips when we get a team that I think feels like we can maybe go all the way. And I'll tell you, Clipper Nation, I feel something different this time. I've never felt that way. Even with Lob City, I never felt that way. And, yeah, hopefully one day I do. You never know about next year, but I don't know. It's all about Kawhi, and it's hard for me to have any faith in his body at this point. But moral of the story, Clippers need to get younger, more athletic. Clippers need their stars healthy to do anything, and you need a top 3 seed. Those things are being shown to me. Also, your best players need to be able to get to the basket more. I don't know how we're going to help that if we're going to keep these 3 together. If I'm being serious, what's going to change? SGA gets to the rim so much. I want to cry thinking about SGA sometimes, how good he's become. Drafted, wore a Clipper uniform before any other. Luka, he didn't put enough pressure on the rim in the first couple of games against us, but as the postseason's gone on, he is. The Celtics have that problem sometimes, but Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they've been okay so far doing that. Ant-Man gets downhill. So it's a real thing, man. It's a real thing. Donovan Mitchell, same thing. These guys are just all younger. They're all just younger. But anyway, let me know what you thought of the episode. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, where you can hear me break down all these playoff games. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Let me know what you thought. Comment which one you think is the most important. It's probably number 2. How do you think we can actively work on improving these aspects? And yeah, also just give me suggestions of episode topics because it's off season. We need something to talk about. But let me know. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.